Welcome back to my channel Lomzy Sews. In today's sewing tutorial, I'll show you how to cut and sew this luxury bubu gown style with embroidery. If that's what you would like to learn, make sure not to skip any part of this video. This tutorial is actually very simple and is beginner friendly. If you have been wanting to know how to add embroidery to your bubu gowns, then sit back and relax and watch this video. I'll be using 2.5 yards of Mikado fabric. You can also use damask fabric for this, and you can use raw silk or even African print. Here I have my fabric folded into two, and I have 27 inches by 60. Your length can be anything but by 27 inches. I'm going to square out a line. This will serve as my shoulder line. You would leave at least ½ inch or 1 inch sewing allowance. Next, I'm going to mark the shoulder width, the neck width of 3.5 inches, and then I'm going to mark neck depth of 1 inch. I'll go ahead and connect this like so. Next, I'm going to divide the shoulder divided by 2 and mark that here, and I'm going to make a shoulder slope of 1 inch. I'll mark this and I'm going to connect it to the neck width. I'll go ahead and extend this down to the end of the hem. So remember, I told you from the center front I have 27 inches. Next, I'm going to mark the sleeve opening. I'm going to mark this to be 20 inches here, and I'm going to square this line across. This line is not the waistline, is the length of the sleeve. I'll go ahead and square, give this a 90-degree angle here like this. This way the sleeve will sit properly. Next, I'm going to mark the width, the circumference of the bodies. So on this line that I have here, I'm going to mark 18 inches. I'll take this down 3 inches and square it to the 3 inches. I'll go ahead and connect this to the sleeve like this. Next, whatever I have here, I'm going to minus 3 inches from that. So I have 18 inches here. I'm going to make the lower part to be 15 inches. I'll go ahead and connect this like this. And so guys, this is basically it. And next, I'm going to cut this. So I'll start with this side. I'm going to cut this out. Remember, I've already added sewing allowance when I was calculating this. By the way, this should size a size 8 to 20 inches. Size 20, don't mind me. I'm going to add ½ inch sewing allowance on the neckline and also ½ inch on the shoulder. Remember, I folded this into two, meaning I'm just cutting only the back. So I'll use this back now and place on another fabric and cut out the front. So this is my fabric. I'm going to place the back pattern on the front on another fabric like this. Align them properly and pin them if you need to pin them. Make sure they are equal on the center front, as you can see. Next, I'm going to cut out the shoulder and the neckline and the side seam to be the same thing. You can decide to cut both the front and the back at the same time, is your preference. I just don't want to suffer my scissors and my hand, so I like to cut them one after the other, depending on the type of fabric I'm working with. So you go ahead and cut it if you're okay by that. So this is it after cutting it. And next, I'm going to lower the neckline of the front. So we already have 1 inch there. So from the back neck depth, I'm going to come down 4.5 inches and connect this to the shoulder line like this. I'll go ahead and cut this out. Next, I'm going to make facing for this. So I'll use the leftover fabric I cut out from the side, fold it into two like this, and I'm going to place the main fabric on the fabric for the facing. Align it properly, and you're going to cut out the neckline. This is the measures I take before I take my bubu gown to embroidery designers. You can this type of embroidery is the tinko embroidery. The other type of embroidery, I think maybe you can leave the neckline without cutting it open. I don't know. I usually use tinko design. So I'm going to cut out the facing like this. Let me know in the comment section how you take your bubu gowns for embroidery. I don't know for other ones, but for my tinko designs, I usually work on the neckline. I finish the neckline before I take it to the designer. So I'm going to also cut out facing for the back. I'm using the front facing to get the width of the shoulder. If you have watched this video till this time, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and drop a comment in the comment section. So this is the front and this is the back. I'll go ahead and I'll first of all make a crease here. This is very, very important when you're sewing facing. So I've made a crease here, and I also made a crease on the main fabric. So I'm going to place the facing on the main fabric like this and mark the length of the slit I want for the front. And here I'm going to sew 1/4 of an inch on each side of the center front. And for the back also, I'm going to also sew the neckline. So I'm going to sew the facing for the back and the front, and I'll go ahead and join them at the shoulder. So I'm sewing away 1/2 inch here. This is it after sewing it. As you can see, I've joined the shoulder of the front and the back. Next, you make sure you're going to overlock the shoulders very neat, because this fabric frays, and also you're going to overlock the side, all the raw edges. Make sure you overlock them before you take them to the embroidery designer. Again, I'm going to also iron this, and I'm going to take this to the embroidery and show you when it's done. This is it after the embroidery gown is done. This is how it's looking. Next, we are going to sew the side. So I'm going to place a right side facing together on the side seam, and I'm going to sew the side seam starting from the sleeve. I'm going to sew down to where the slit is going to be. From the hem, I came up 17 inches for the slit. This is it after sewing the side seam, as you can see. Next, I'm going to sew the slit. So I've already made overlock, so I'm going to fold this once and sew it at the tip and make the slit. So just fold it once because we have already overlocked the side seam. This is it after sewing the side slits. Next, we are going to hem the lower part. So I'm going to fold this once like this and also fold it again. I'm going to do this on both sides. So after doing that, next is for us to sew the elastic. So we are going to make elastic casing. We are going to fold this once like this and sew it round, leaving a space for the elastic. That will be for the elastic casing. So this is the space I have made for the elastic casing. I'm going to pass elastic into that. I have 1/2 inch elastic, and the length I'm using is 10 inches. When I'm done passing the elastic, I will trim it more, But first, let me do that. When you're doing this, make sure you hold it down with pins so that you don't get to face any issues. I'll go ahead and pass the elastic into the casing. This is it after passing it. Remember I told you it's 10 inches, but I'm going to reduce it. So I'll go ahead and go to my machine and gather it the way I want, and I'm going to sew it here. Also close the elastic casing. So this is it, guys. So next, you're going to make sure you add hook to it. You can see this, everything is neatly done. So you're going to add hook to the neckline if you want to. I'm going to add bra hook to mine here. And that is it for this today's sewing tutorial. I'll see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and like if you actually like this video. And then I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.